no clarity that decisions on the industry can or are being made. People of Trinidad and Tobago, that is not the point of view as expressed by the P.N.M, even though we agree with it. That is the point of view of an expert, probably the most preeminent young expert out there in the international arena, assessing and speaking openly to the media about what he sees in Trinidad and Tobago. And this should worry the people of Trinidad and Tobago, because nothing that the government has offered to come to pass in its 5-year term. We are now heading to June, where they would finish 3 years. They have produced absolutely nothing to grow the economy. What they have done, like leeches, is to suck what they met there in the economy. And today, ministers who went in, many of them living under the house like Miss Howard Cat, couldn't pay their light bill. All of them today are multi-millionaires because they have made it good for themselves. I never know a minister's salary could have stretched so like rubber band. Under this government, ministers who came in 2 years, are now accepting in conversation that they are multi-millionaires. And I want to tell the people of Trinidad and Tobago, this is not a matter to be laughed at. About 2 months ago, I had the opportunity to meet a group of small businessmen in the southern area of Trinidad. About 9 of them. All but one said to me that they were strong supporters in the last election of the current government. But right now, they can get no work for their businesses. Their equipment lie idle. Their workers either lose their jobs or are about to lose their jobs. And unless you are part of the ruling cabal, you get no work. And 5 of the 9 of them hung their head down and told me that they, in trying to save their business, paid bribes to government ministers, high, medium, and low, attempting to get work. And the worst part about it, they pay the bribe and they didn't get the work. That is what is going on in Trinidad and Tobago today. And to all those persons who are so subjected, I want to say to them tonight, now you understand the difference between a P.N.M government and a UNC government. Because under the P.N.M, you were free to make your money, grow your business, and vote against the P.N.M. You were free to do that. Recently, as we were going to Tobago for that Tobago election, it came to my attention, one very senior government official made it the business to inquire and obtain a list of all the contractors who got government contracts in the last 2 years. Name of contractor and amount of the contract that they got. And I'm advised by those who speak to me that these contractors are being shaken down on a weekly basis. How it's done? Once a government contract is being awarded, high-ranking officials call the contractor and say, I just gave you a contract. And on that basis, generosity is expected. And when that is finished, another one calls and says, I gave you the contract. And contractors are being caught between that, wanting to keep their work, keep their business, and being caught. That, I could tell you, was never happening under a P.N.M government, and the contractors know it. They know it. And they are talking about it. And that is why Trinidad and Tobago today is diving so deep on the corruption index, where we're heading to meet Afghanistan and Mali and whatever. Because that is what's happening in Trinidad and Tobago today. I will tell you something. The government just will not speak the truth. Look at what happened with that highway project. Eventually, after the hunger strike, the government agreed to put a team in place to review the whole thing. We were all waiting for it. The day the report came out and the cabinet saw it, what happened? Something printed on paper, done by an NGO, with a lot of professional people, The government is so into lying to you that they take it as a given and a right to lie to you. A minister came out of the cabinet and without let or hindrance told the country, the report says that the highway must proceed and therefore the government has no impediment. And then of course we started hearing that's not what it says. But the minister came and addressed the media, purporting to have read the report, saying that the report finds that the government has no problem and there's nothing to prevent the highway from proceeding unimpeded. Now the minister stands in front of the public to hear people calling him another liar. But you see, this is not personal. This is not about the minister. This is about the government and the governance of the country. You would have seen the Minister of National Security telling the press that he has instructed the police not to give the press any information on crime. And when the whole country said, what? He said, I never said that. And they show him on TV, look, that you saying that. He said, no, that's not me. That's she. But as I come to the issue of crime, the same way in education, a simple matter like the government talking to the union is a matter for national discord. Minister of Education goes to a school, gets on the PA system, berates teachers in front of the children, and then gets into a shout out or whatever it was with a member of the union, and then he decides that this member of the union cannot be a member of the union's delegation and cannot come into the government office to hold meetings. As a result of that, teachers are now getting ready to shut down the schools. And you know, to avoid that, here's the solution the minister comes up with. Not acknowledging that he has played the fool, he says, well, okay, since you all are not going to be coming to the government office where we meet for free, we will go down to Capital Plaza, pay a few tens of thousands of dollars, and hold the meeting down there. You think the minister is paying for that? Who is paying for that? You, the people, paying for the minister's folly, because now that he can't climb down from the horse he mounted, he decides that you must pay to carry the union down to the plaza. As you walk through the plaza, you start counting tens of thousands of dollars. You have to pay that. I heard 2 days ago a principal saying how his teachers cannot focus on teaching as they should because they spend too much time raising funds to buy toilet paper and services, but the minister could find money to go down to Capital Plaza to carry people who he banned from the ministry where there's a space for free. You understand? That is the kind of thing that is going on in Trinidad and Tobago. One of the main things they had to deal with when they came into office is the issue of crime. We today are worse off than we were when the government changed on the issue of crime. The first 2 months of 2010, there were 72 or 74 murders, I think it was. And at that time, it was horrendously bad and could not be tolerated, and it was a major campaign issue. 2 months of this year, what's the number? 70 how much? 78, 79, 80? So after 2.5 years of a new government coming to respond to the problem, I regret to announce to you tonight that the problem is worse than it was before. Because now they have added arson to the bullets. What's happening in Port of Spain now is those who don't have guns or can't see the target in their sights, they burn down the whole place. And the government sees nothing different in that. What you have in office is a Minister of National Security who has more questions to answer than more people who they should be talking to. And the first thing he did, following up on his colleague who went out, one who said that the government's crime plan was to get 20,000 security guards to be attached to the police. That was the first crime plan they had, remember that? October 2010, Minister Sandy created something which would have put security guards in under some commission, and security guards would have become the eyes and ears of police. 20,000 of them. Is that happening? Then he got thrown out in June 2012, and Mr. Jack Warner said to you, give me 6 months, and if in 6 months I don't bring this crime to heel, then you could hold me accountable. Those are his terms. Prime Minister accepted it. What does he give you in 6 months? First thing he gave you, 5,000 SRPs, costing $60 million by Christmas. And you know what? When people flood the streets to come to become SRPs, he said, you know, I got a VAPS. It's going to be 10,000 SRPs. And the government says that is our crime plan. And of course, you didn't get that. When young Daniel, what's his name, Daniel, young boy, little boy who was gruesomely murdered, Daniel Guerra. When Daniel Guerra was murdered, the Prime Minister gone to cry in the funeral. She got to read a poem. She's a poet now. Talking to the dead boy. Daniel, we fail you. Making PR out of serious business. It shouldn't have been Daniel, we fail you. It's Trinidad and Tobago, we continue to fail you. There's no hope. And then they run to the parliament to bring what they call the hanging bill. Remember the hanging bill? Came to